These two attitudes toward human sexuality dominated Christian writing from the 5th century onward. Their approach to sex is based on two presumptions. The first, that sex is always bad and equals impurity, and the second, that sex is only justifiable for human reproduction and is evil when sought for other reasons, such as pleasure. A third approach, which has roots in the Gospels, is that sex can be an act of love and is a crucial element in human relationships, and an essential aspect of marriage. Although medieval writers did not accentuate this theme, its proponents were, oddly enough, primarily monks. It is found in some of the medieval canonists, but never gained the moral or legal high ground. Nor was it conspicuous between the Middle Ages and the 20th century. Finally, in 1939, Farner. Herbert Doms, a German priest and scholar, published The Meaning of Marriage, a work that espoused the idea that sex was not primarily for procreation, but for expressing love. Furthermore, Doms said, people married for love and not primarily to procreate. This view was far from the Church's official teaching, and it got little notice until the Second Vatican Council, 1962-65. After a bitter fight between a progressive group of council fathers, bishops and cardinals, and a minority group of conservative participants led by key members of the Vatican bureaucracy, the council voted to pass a revolutionary text in its pastoral constitution, The Church in the Modern World. The third opinion had finally been officially recognized and accepted as part of the official teaching of the Catholic Church. However, medieval writers of the early period, 10th to 12th centuries, and theologians and canonists of the later period, 13th to 15th centuries, were all influenced by the earlier Stoic dualism. If sex was acceptable at all, it was only when used for procreation. What does Catholic teaching about sex have to do with clergy sexual abuse and its many variations through the centuries? First, there is an obvious credibility gap of cosmic proportions between the lofty ideals of clerical chastity, the supremacy of virginity, and the narrow tolerance of marital sexuality, and the way church authorities generally react to the sexual activities of the clergy from priests right up to popes. Second, the profound sense of shame that has grown out of this pessimistic and negative dualistic understanding of humanity, and sexuality in particular, helps explain the Church's obsession with secrecy. This secrecy surrounds clerical sex offenses and crimes. Church authorities demonstrate a reluctance to openly admit the existence of this behavior to the unsuspecting public. Finally, the mystique surrounding celibacy is necessary in order to sustain its rationale and to attract men to initially embrace it in the priesthood and religious life. The exaltation of the celibate ideal has hinged upon selling the idea that celibacy and virginity, even reinvented, are far superior to the lay life or the married state. Celibacy is essential to the continuation of the power and prominence of the clerical subculture, the home of the elite minority who rule the Catholic Church. Despite the documented history of celibacy violations through the centuries, Catholic leadership has strongly resisted any serious consideration that there may be something wrong with the concept itself. To abandon celibacy would be to risk the demise of the fortified clerical world and the consequent loss of power and influence.